Hey, what's going on? It's Coach Justin from Ultimate Baseball Training, and in today's video we're talking about 5 things that you need to focus on during batting practice. And I'm telling you, if you focus on these 5 things, you're going to be a much more consistent and productive hitter at the plate. So I really think you're going to enjoy this one. Without further ado, let's jump into it. All right, so the first thing that every single hitter out there needs to focus on during batting practice is execution and bat control. Now, this is going to vary depending on the way that your coach likes to do things, but a lot of the times in batting practice, you're going to have 3 or 4 rounds usually. And then typically your first round of batting practice is going to be more or less an execution round. And so you might have to do maybe 2 bunts, one down the first base line, one down the third base line. You might have to do a hit and run, a move 'em over type play. You might have to do infield in, infield back, sac fly. You might have to do a suicide squeeze. You might have to do a slash play. But it all depends on the way that your coach likes to do things. But what I'm telling you is, even if your coach doesn't, force you to do execution type plays, you shouldn't. One of the worst things you can do is step in batting practice, your very first round, and just immediately start getting pull happy and seeing how far and high you can hit it to your pull side, right? Because that's not really bat control. You're focusing on one particular pitch location and you're staying in one area of the field. We want to be able to hit the ball to all fields, and if we're called upon to do so in a game, we want to be able to execute. And so I would encourage you, even if it's not mandatory by your coach, lay down some bunts. Figure out with bat control, and this is not just, bat control is not just about bunting, but we're talking bunting here. Figure out, what angle do I need to set my bat at to execute a bunt down that first base line? Or what's the angle that I need for a bunt down that third base line? So that when a real game comes around, you know how to actually execute a bunt instead of, you've never practiced a bunt before ever. And so maybe it's a low pitch, and instead of using your legs the proper way like this and going down and getting it like this, maybe you just dump your barrel like this and you pop up to the catcher, right? That's not what you want to do. You want to be able to execute if you're called upon. So be able to execute bunts. Be able to execute those hit and run type plays, the move 'em over plays, the infield in, infield back. How about runner on third base, less than 2 outs? You should be able to execute, all right, I'm looking for a ball that's elevated in the strike zone so I can get underneath it. I can crush a fly ball, a deep fly ball for a sac fly and drive that run in, get my RBI, help my team win, right? So moral of the story, make sure that you at least take the first part of batting practice and execute. Work on your bat control. Work on executing your bunts, laying them down, not missing, not fouling them off, executing your bunts, executing your hit and runs, all your different situational type plays. Then after your first round of doing that, then you can start free swinging a little bit more. All right, so we've got our execution down. We're working on our bat control. We're working on our situational hitting. Now, what's the next thing we should focus on in batting practice? The next thing is focus on hitting hard line drives. Focus on squaring the baseball up. You shouldn't be in batting practice overly concerned with, hitting home runs or anything like that. A lot of the times, if you focus on hitting line drives and if you focus on spraying the ball all around the field in batting practice, those are going to transfer to home runs in real games. So I know that a lot of you guys out there want to hit more home runs, but it'll come. Batting practice, you've got to remember, your BP pitcher is standing, 45 feet away, something like that, throwing the ball, 50 miles an hour maybe. In a real game, you're going to get more velocity, right? Things are going to be moving, more full speed. Home runs will come, but you need to focus on squaring the ball up and hitting hard line drives, because I'm telling you, let's just be honest, if you can't square up the ball in batting practice when you know what pitch is coming, it's probably going to be a strike, it's not going to be an off-speed pitch or a breaking ball or anything, it's going to be a straight, pretty much lobbed in fastball. If you can't square that up and hit a line drive in BP, then good luck doing it in a real game where every single pitch is going to have a different velocity behind it. It's going to be, dipping and diving and moving all over the place, dancing around. Good luck hitting in a real game if you can't hit in batting practice, right? So it starts on the tee. You've got to learn to hit line drives off of the tee and soft toss, front toss. Then you've got to transfer it to batting practice. Focus on squaring the ball up. Get really, really consistent in squaring the ball up in BP. Then that's going to transfer into a game. And when you get really consistent at hitting line drives in a game, good things are going to happen. The next thing that you should focus on is staying in the middle of the field. All right, now maybe not every single swing, but the majority of your batting practice balls should be, pretty much in between left center field and right center field. So left center, center field, right center, anywhere in that area, that should be where the majority of your hits actually are in batting practice. I would be really, really careful if you get too overly pull happy, everything's down for a right-handed hitter, let's say the left field line, everything's right down the line, or everything's down in the right field corner, down the right field line. I would be concerned there. You want to stay in the middle of the field. I'll tell you a story, and a lot of you guys can probably relate to this, talked about a little bit earlier, but especially when you start getting a little bit bigger and stronger and you're able to start hitting the ball out of the ballpark, a lot of times it's easy to get pull happy, okay? Pretty much every single hitter out there has more power to their pull side. And why is that? Because when you step in the batter's box, what pitches do you pull? You pull pitches that are inside, all right? So an inside pitch, in order to pull it, in order to hit that ball successfully, I've got to pull my hands in, keep everything tight to my body. And when I make contact there, I'm super connected. That's where I'm quickest. That's where I'm strongest. That's where I'm most powerful. On an outside pitch, you want to try to stay connected, but you're not as connected on an outside pitch as you are on that inside pitch. And so when I started getting a little bit bigger and stronger, able to put the ball out of the ballpark, I started getting into a bad habit in batting practice of just trying to see how many home runs that I could hit. And I started pulling everything. And then what I noticed is I started to not be able to hit the away pitch as well, because I was really focusing on the inside part of the plate and pulling everything. And opposite field, I struggled a little bit. And so what I would encourage you to do, I know that it's tempting to start, trying to get pull happy and seeing how high and how far you can hit home runs, right? But I would encourage you to just try to stay in the middle of the field as much as you possibly can. Stay gap to gap, because that's ultimately where your doubles and your triples are going to be anyways. All right, so stay in the middle part of the field. The next thing that's super important to focus on in batting practice is rhythm and timing. All right, timing is absolutely everything when it comes to hitting, and vice versa for pitchers. It's all about disrupting a hitter's timing. We don't want that, right? As a hitter, you want to consistently arrive on time, and it really starts in batting practice. Similarly to when I just talked about, hitting line drives, if you can't figure out how to consistently square up the baseball and hit line drives in BP, then good luck doing it in a real game. It's the same with your timing. If you can't arrive consistently on time in BP, I got bad news for you. It's going to be tough to do that in a real game. So you want to iron out your rhythm and timing. Stay nice and loose and relaxed. Have some good rhythm, good tempo, and try to, really, that's one of the reasons why we're staying in the middle of the field. We're not trying to get pull happy, getting out in front of everything. We're not trying to let the ball travel too far and hit it down the opposite field line. We're trying to stay in the middle of the field, because that's where our timing is really, really solid. Okay, so work on your timing. Timing is absolutely everything. And last thing I'll say on timing, especially in BP, make sure you get your front foot down on time. Don't get your front foot down early. Get it down on time, because we talked about rhythm and how important that is and being on time and everything. And if you get your front foot down early, super early, right? If you get your front foot down early, what that does is it forces you to lose all of that momentum, right? When we're loading against our backside and we're striding forward, we're building up momentum there. When we get our front foot down early, it's like we stop that momentum. We have to restart everything. And so I would encourage you, as you're working on your rhythm and timing in BP, make sure, I'm fine if you should start everything, early, but don't get your front foot down, early. Get it down on time, so when that foot hits the ground, you can just go. And last thing, this is super important. You want to focus on, in batting practice, keeping your head down through contact, okay? Seeing the baseball is probably arguably the most important thing in hitting, right? Because it doesn't matter how beautiful your swing is, how great your mechanics are, how strong you are, how much bat speed you have. At the end of the day, if you don't watch the ball, and if you can't square up the ball, you can't watch it from the pitcher's hand and watch it make contact with your barrel, if you can't master that skill, nothing else matters. So seeing the ball is so important, and it's easy to get lost in other things. But I think at the end of the day, we need to make sure in batting practice every single day that we're focusing intentionally on seeing the ball, watching the ball. It's not something that you just all of a sudden, oh, I got it, I mastered watching the ball. It's something throughout your entire career that you consciously have to work on. And so in batting practice, you know, it's really easy, especially if you get pull happy and you start trying to hit a ton of home runs in BP. It's really easy to start, instead of keeping your head down at contact, it's easy to start pulling your head because you want to see where the ball goes, similar to a guy on the driving range trying to see how far he crushes the golf ball, right? So what I'd encourage you to do is keep your head down for longer than you think is necessary, right? And it's gonna feel really funny when you first start doing this, but I promise you, it's gonna transfer over to a game. You're gonna see the ball 10 times better. I'm telling you, try it out. So, you know, it's nothing crazy. A lot of you guys have probably seen the no-look drill that we do with the tee. It's the same thing, but it's with batting practice. So nothing changes. You take your regular swings just at the point of contact, right? Our eyes are down at the point of contact. You want to keep your head down as you finish your swing, right? We're finishing our swing high. As you finish your swing, you're keeping your eyes down, like the ball, you hit the ball's gone, but you're continuing to keep your head down in the hitting zone, and then eventually you look up, but you keep your head down for as long as you possibly can. Overdo it, it's gonna feel funny in BP, but in a real game, you're really gonna consciously focus on the ball more, and you're gonna have more hits because of it. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, you're gonna love the free on-demand hitting training that I put together for you. It's 100% free. It's gonna help you take your hitting to that next level. We go over everything that you need to know to go from where you're at to where you wanna be as a hitter. I really think you're gonna like it. Once again, 100% free. All you have to do to grab it is just click on the link in the comment section, all right? So look for the pinned comment at the top from Ultimate Baseball Training. You just click on that link, enter your email address, and you will receive this free on-demand training sent right to your inbox, all right? So go ahead, click on that link, do that right now. If you enjoyed this video, leave me a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate that. And last thing, if you're not subscribed to our channel yet, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We're coming out with brand new baseball videos every single week. They're designed to get you better. I really think you're gonna enjoy them, and I don't want you to miss any of them. So subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you next time.